Alright, what a view. Wouldn't you love to put a cabin up there, make that your office, and have this view while you're working? Well, that's what we want to do. We want to put a cabin up there. I think about a 14 foot by 14 foot D-log button pass construction style log cabin. But we need to mill up some logs to do that. So let's get to the sawmill. We have a beautiful 20-acre piece, and we have to thin out a lot of the trees for boring beetle, pine beetle protection, and forest fire protection. So as I go through and drop some trees here and there to protect the forest, I take those trees and mill them up. But in this case, before I can mill those logs now up, I got to change a band out, so I rushed, hurried this up, sped up the film a little bit for you. You know, I think if you want to watch me change a band, I'm happy to do a video on changing a band, but in this case I wanted to get right to milling. So I got to change the band, I got to clean things up. Normally I have a compressor with me and a broom and a tape measure and all kinds of things. This particular trip was a little bit on the rushed side, and so I didn't grab a compressor to blow things off and clean things out, and I didn't have my shop broom that I use to brush sawdust off the mill. I didn't actually even have a tape measure with me, but that's okay because the mill has a scale on it, so I can mill accurately without a tape measure. I like to have one. Helps me kind of visualize things a little bit. So once you get the band on and you get it tightened up, you run the mill and check tension. It usually loosens up, and so you tighten it up, run it again, tighten it up, run it again, and so on until it gets nice and tight. Then of course you got to roll some logs on. This big old ponderosa pine right here had a little bit of a log in front of it that I had to kind of sneak it past, but thanks to that awesome log right cant hook right there, it's easy to do. The log right cant hooks are awesome, and I've got two of them. I've got the big orange, I think it's a 5-footer, and I've got a small, 2.5 foot for the mill deck. Gotta love the Wood Mizer LT40 hydraulics. Just so awesome. Roll the log to the forks, get it up on the deck, and I've put logs on the deck that are bigger than the mill's rated to handle. I've milled stuff at 42 inches plus. Pretty awesome mill. I love the Wood Mizers, and this is my second Wood Mizer. The first one was an LT10 on the ground, and I put it on a trailer and eventually moved into this guy. So if you've seen my looking back at 10 years of milling video, you'll see some of that. Love having the toe board rollers that I can just pick the log up and then roll it back and forth by hand to get it in the position I want. You see here I'm using the mill head just to check the height of the center of the log, and I'm just going to drop 1.5 inches below the center of the height of the log and then mill straight down, and that'll give me a good opening face. What I'm doing is I'm trying to make D-logs. I need about 100 D-logs, and most of the logs I'm cutting are in the 15+ foot range. That's intentional because I'd like to try to make all the walls without having to splice. Meaning that, if you have a 14-foot wall and you're going to have a 6-inch overhang, you don't want to have an 8-foot log, because then you're going to need a 6.5-foot log to splice with it to make the length of the wall. I do have some of that, but there are windows and door openings where shorter logs can be utilized. But ideally, most of the walls will be done with 15-footers, and 15-foot gives me a little bit on each end to square them up before I do the button pass method. The button pass is just a style. It's a more modern style of building a log cabin. It's faster, easier to do, no notching required. Some say you don't have to worry about settling and all that kind of stuff. I don't know if that's true, but that's what we're going to do. So we take this one here. It was about a 16-inch, I think, and we'll take it, we'll mill it down, we'll get it down to essentially a 6x6 cant with one round face. and that'll be the D-log, and I'll have to peel the bark still, but I can get that at any time. I've end sealed all these, so all these logs are end sealed. They're, you know, that way all the lumber, all the D-logs, all the 1-bys, whatever I mill off of it that comes off of it will be end sealed, so I won't get checking on the ends, at least not badly anyway. It works pretty well. And it'll all get stacked and stickered. You could see some lumber there, and I think in this video it kind of shows you a little bit of it. There's actually some stuff that's been there a few months. It's dry and I need to pull out. But again, since this trip was really kind of an impromptu, get up there, check on the property and the cabin, say hi to the neighbors, we keep an eye on things for us, and just run the mill for a couple hours. You know, I really hadn't done a lot of prep or planning, but that's okay. I mean, the mill can sit here, you know, until the next time I get up there. In fact, it's going to stay there until the first week of August when I go mill for a customer. I got 80 logs to mill up for a customer that are all 16 to 20 feet and 18 to 36 inch diameters. So that'll be a big milling job. And I've done lots of those. I've milled upwards of, well, just over 40,000 board feet just for one customer. So I enjoy it. I like milling, and hope you enjoy the videos. I'll try to do some where I get into a little bit more of some of the techniques, some of the things I do and why. I've milled somewhere in the neighborhood of 200,000 board feet. So I got a long ways to go before I make Wood Mizer's Million Board Foot Club. Who knows if I'll ever make it, maybe in 20 years. But I'm part of their 100,000 board foot club. A lot of active sawyers are. If you've done any amount of milling, frankly, you're gonna meet that pretty quickly. I think it takes about 400 hours or something on the mill, 300 hours on the mill to get there. These mills can mill 500 board feet an hour, but honestly, when you're milling alone, you're going to get about 150 to 200 probably. Just because you're doing everything alone, and if you're not using big logs, the big logs just don't net out that much. So, but I can talk about that in another video. Anyway, so let's get to milling. Let's get some D-logs made, and hopefully I can get the total of 100 D-logs made this summer, so I can start my cabin build in the fall and have that great view to enjoy while I'm working remotely. Have a great day, and hit subscribe if you like what you see.